Skipping the intro, you already know what time it is. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another random recap. In this video, I'll be going over one of the worst draft classes I've seen since 2022, which is pretty ironic because if you're not new here, you know I said the same thing about last year's class, which actually turned out pretty alright. But with this year's class, there's really only one star, a bunch of projects, and a Carson Beck. And the thing about these projects is half them all point to being future backups at best. It's an interesting one. So if you're new here and don't know how this works, I'm going to name a prospect, give you my opinion, tell you their strengths, weaknesses, and just my overall thoughts on where I think they end up. There will be some names I don't mention, it's just because I went over the more talked about names. I do plan on making a part 2, so if I don't include a quarterback you want to hear about, please let me know down below in the comments. Quick disclaimer before we do get into the video. I am not a professional, by all means. This is all strictly my opinion and all the research I dumped into these players. I put a lot of time into this, so I would appreciate it if you gave it your listen. All I do ask is if you are new here, please subscribe. It does help the channel and does get my name out there more. So with all that being said, let's get into the 2026 NFL quarterback draft class. Alright, first up, we have Fernando Mendoza. Look, I don't even gotta tell you about this one. I don't gotta tell you his strengths, his weaknesses. I mean, if you don't know who Mendoza is, I genuinely ask, where the hell have you been all year long? Because even if you don't like Indiana or the kid himself, which I don't know how that's possible, you were forced to acknowledge their greatness at the end of the season. But again, like I said, I ain't gonna sell you much to tell you about Mendoza and his campaign for being the first overall pick. But of course, let me break it down simply for those who need a reminder. Raiders, they need a quarterback. Mendoza so happens to be the only quarterback worth a damn this year. Raiders finished 3-14 and get the first overall pick, so with that, it's a perfect match. Raiders suck dick, they need quarterback. Quarterbacks there in draft, they have the first pick. And they get themselves a very much needed position and the best player for the position at best. Can't wait to see how they fuck this one up. But yes, Raiders fans can finally say they have a quarterback they're proud to call their own once again. So unless some team throws the largest haul in existence to trade up, or he completely bombs the interview process so bad to where even a team like the Raiders say hell no, there's no reason to believe why they would not select him. Like, you would have to be coked out of your goddamn mind to not select Mendoza with the first overall pick when it's the strongest position you need filled. Hell, every team in need of a quarterback would love to get a player like Mendoza. He's exactly what modern offenses need. A big, strong-armed quarterback, great processing speed, and amazing accuracy. Not to mention also his solid mobility paired with his winning mindset of willing to die on the field for his guys. With him, you know what you're getting. Very polished, plays like he's been in the league for years without even touching it. Based on his poise and intangibles, I mean, he knows what to do when that clock starts going and how to do it even without the world's greatest talent. He's able to make these players look better than they really are. Sure, some people will try to spin off that he was just in a really good scheme that any other top quarterback would have succeeded in as well, but the talent's undeniable, from his Cal tape to Indiana. The production also doesn't lie. He can execute against anybody, whether it's a full game masterpiece or a last second drive as seen in the Penn State game where all hope looked lost before he clutched up in one of the craziest drives I've seen all season long. I mean, there's a reason his floor, at worst, is still a very good NFL starter who's going to be playing for years on end, whereas his ceiling is being an MVP winner who could possibly deliver you to a Super Bowl. You know, we're talking like a better prime Joe Flacco, possibly a mirrored version of Jared Goff, or even Matt Ryan levels of talent, which I do love that comparison the most. Mendoza's just got something to him that some prospects don't. While they might shine in nothing but raw talent, he shines with hard work plus his talent. And the thing about hard work is it does truly outbeat talent that doesn't want to work hard. He might not be every offensive coordinator's cup of tea like a Cam Ward of last year was, because, well, let's be honest, in a class like last year's or the year before, in the nicest way possible, Mendoza doesn't go first. Possibly not even the second quarterback taken off the board. He's really good, but he's not elite, and in a class where it's really weak like this year, it's why he's a #1 choice. But yeah, as I was saying, he might not be every offensive coordinator's dream player, but the system he's landing in will be ran by the same guys who helped Sam Darnold deliver the Seahawks a Super Bowl his first year as a starter. So I think he'll be just fine. Just for the love of God, get him an O-line. I can't stress it enough. I really can't. Like, I do not give a shit how generational any prospect is. If the guy's got no damn protection, he's not gonna live up to standards. I kid you not, some teams will hear the word generational, think this guy could fucking do it hopping on one leg with an arm tied behind his back. He still needs help. Like, it's no secret. Your last quarterback took 55 sacks in a single season. If you do not walk outside your stadium and find 5 of the fattest people in Vegas and tell them, hey, you're gonna come block Fernando Mendoza, you're going to get him killed, therefore ruining his career. I think he'll be great, but I'm biting my tongue on the thought of the Raiders getting him what he actually needs. He doesn't need the best thing available, but it definitely needs to be better than whatever the fuck they gave Geno Smith this season. He already has Bowers, he's got Genty, so I do like the chances. Then when you also take into consideration was either this or the Jets, so comparing total garbage to a complete dumpster fire, this is the best it can get. So as another praying man like Mendoza himself, I pray this pick ages perfectly, because he's gonna need all the luck he can get. I can trust Mendoza, but I don't trust the Raiders. I need to see it happen before I can believe it. Either way, he's the number 1 undisputed pick. Concerns will be concerns, but nothing I tell you today will change yours or any GM's mind. Next up, Tai Simpson. First things first, roll Tide. Secondly, Wow, I don't know where to start with this, so I'm just gonna go off Tai Simpson. One hell of a name pool for this draft, because for some, it's gonna be a very hot topic. It's an ongoing argument at the moment, and I'm still seeing a lot of people discuss about it. Is Tai Simpson a first-round talent? And had someone like, Dante Moore, Lenore Sellers, Chambliss, or dare I even say Darian Mensah enter this year's class, would he even be this high in talk? Like, would he? Would he even be a consideration? Some will tell you, yes, he is absolutely worth the first pick. Others will say this class is so dog shit that taking him this high during the first at all at any point is just an act of desperation for a quarterback fulfillment rather than drafting him around his actual value, and it's a forced selection. It's definitely a tough save, especially for a one-year starter who's been watching from the sidelines for 3 years. Most of the time, these quarterbacks with barely anything but a year tend to become busts. It's not always, but it's more often than usual, and for Tai, that number is 15, putting him way below the baseline of 25 starts. This alone is why it's risky considering somebody like him. If you ask me, I think it's gonna happen. Should it? I don't know. I want to say no, but I feel there's a sweet spot for him in exactly the perfect situation for what he offers, but then I feel there's too high, or just a really bad team that should not be making this pick when they can get something better like a defensive player in the first, because doing that is how you create a Zach Wilson or an Anthony Richardson. It really all depends on just who takes the shot. You tell me the Rams, I'll say not a bad idea, because you know who he's sitting behind and his coach. Stafford's got 1 year remaining, they need a guy to take over as soon as he's gone. You say the Jets first round? I'll say you fucked up. You say the Steelers? I ask, is that to sit or to start? Because depending on what you say, I'll tell you it was a bad pick. Like, this is not some Jackson Dart type of swing in the first like the media is trying to make you believe. Dart had the experience. Dart had the talent. Not to mention the traits that said he would be great. Do not be fooled. Tai Simpson's good, but Tai Simpson is no Jackson Dart. He's shown the flashes, but I can't say I see him as a sure thing for the first round. And if he is, it was heavily forced. Maybe, maybe not. As a Tide fan, I can say he did really good with what we gave him, but I'm biased as possible. I think he's a fine day 2 prospect who will play as good as the team around him. For day 1, it has to be a learning role. If you take him in the first round, it has to be to sit him with not of the expectation he's going to come in the lead right away. This is a guy who needs to sit behind a great veteran, learn, and then potentially take over. Hell, any of these quarterbacks behind Mendoza need to sit and learn. With Simpson, depending on who you are, it's like playing with fire thinking he's coming out hot and ready. Regardless, I still think he's a great prospect who can be serviceable at best with the ceiling of being a quality NFL starter. I think he's somebody your team should take the chance on if you're somewhere in day 2 and if you're willing to develop. So here's Tai Simpson's strength, weaknesses, and who I think calls his number come draft night. Strength number 1, processing and IQ. Simpson's able to see the field quickly and doesn't lock onto his first read, which is a common mistake for most quarterbacks in college. He's comfortable moving through progressions and usually knows where he wants to go with the ball pre-snap. Overall, he does a good job identifying coverage and stays a step ahead of defense in front of him. Number 2, pocket presence and his toughness. If there is a lot of things I gotta give Tai some credit for, toughness is definitely one of them. He possesses great presence, but he's also one tough SOB. I've seen Tai take big hits, not just on bad plays, but good ones as well. He's a quarterback who will just stand there not afraid to take the hit if it means delivering on a throw. You could put the biggest edge rusher in his face, it's not going to stop him from finishing the play. Not to mention he's able to climb the pocket well and doesn't drift backwards into pressure. He's tough, composed, and willing to hang in there when it matters the most. Number 3, arm talent. Not elite by all means, but it's more than enough to make every throw at the next level. He can change speeds, layer the ball over to defenders, and still drive it outside the numbers. He might not possess a cannon of an arm, or it might not even be the strongest in this class, but it still is definitely NFL caliber and versatile enough to run your offense. Short to intermediate throws with a good amount of deep ball chances? Now we're talking his type of game. Next strength, quick release, overall mechanics. Since it packs a quick compact release with clean mechanics, the ball gets out fast and stays on time in route concepts, which helps him beat pressure and keep the offense moving even when protection breaks down. Next up, accuracy. Okay, like I mentioned with the arm talent and strength, short to intermediate range throws are his bread and butter, especially when he's on a roll. He's able to hit receivers in stride with amazing ball placement and allows for yards after catch instead of forcing them to slow down or adjust had he have limitations with his accuracy. With Simpson, you don't gotta worry about can he hit it. He'll hit it so well almost looks too natural. Next strength is decision making. Simpson plays aggressive football, but smart football if that makes sense. He knows when to take certain shots, smart shots, sometimes even dangerous, but it does pay off in the end, and he knows when to check it down. And he can do all this without putting the ball in harm's way. I mean, that stretch with 0 interceptions for a whole ass 4 games showed control, confidence, and trust in this offense. Even after he threw that 1 pick, he would go another 4 games without doing the same thing. Not against scrubs either, may I remind you. South Carolina, Tennessee, Mizzou, LSU. He's a playmaker who's very safe when it comes to delivering the ball. And now we get to his weaknesses. Deep ball accuracy. So back to what I said about his strengths. Simpson's short to intermediate game, pure bread and butter. Absolute money. But the deep ball, yeah, not his strongest suit. He can make it happen. I've seen it time and time again, but he's shown inconsistency when pushing it down the field that way. Even with the strong arm, the deep stuff just isn't always there, and his throwing base can wobble a bit under pressure. So definitely something to know at the next level. Next up, ball security. Oh, god damn it, this one got me the most. The fact that he's either tied or leads the FBS with fumbles, like 7 entirely, should be circled in a red Sharpie upon scout evaluation. For all that I liked with Tai, this was one of those that frustrated me the most, especially the one against Indiana. Yeah, we were gonna get our ass kicked either way, but you know, it's like he was just handing it to them. I mean, they were all bad, but it's like he would lose the ball in the most important moments. And at one point, I think he had a fumble in 5 straight games. Like, no, this is something you should not paint over. Jalen Milroe had less, and that motherfucker run every 2 plays. You're telling me Simpson had more? That's crazy. So yes, ball security is important, and while he's safe with the ball through the air, when that pocket collapses, I'll be clenching pearls hoping he doesn't drop this shit right in the open. Definitely a concern of his that does need improvement at the next level. Number 3, lack of physical tools and his frame. Now wait a minute. When I say lack, I don't mean he doesn't have anything or that there's nothing there to him. I just mean he doesn't have the tools that will knock your socks off or shit that's gonna blow you away at the combine. Like, man, he's crazy talented. No rocket arm, not really explosive with his legs outside the pocket, outside of maybe a few shovels and slides. Not to mention his physical stature standing at 6'2" and barely 210 pounds. That's where his size also comes into play. He's tough, but getting hit by a defender from Vanderbilt is a whole different story than what awaits him in the NFL. These men are out here to destroy and demolish quarterbacks because they get paid millions to do so. So adding onto his frame is never a bad idea, especially if you want to at least up your chances of not getting torn apart after the first couple of hits. So because his stature is what it is, it definitely applies limitations towards any growth. And finally, limited experience. It's obvious, I was going to mention this one again. 15 career starts. 15. I just still don't believe 15 starts is enough to say, oh yeah, this guy is going to be a starter day one like some teams want to make you believe. In the latter half of the season in these 15 starts, he had late season struggles. Like you can even see at the end of the year, defensive coordinators started to figure him out. I mean, you would tell me why he was able to dominate Georgia once and got his ass whooped the second time. It's like the more film they finally got on Simpson, they knew how to go against him. But those 15 starts show he still has a lot of learning left to do. So overall, with Tai Simpson, I think he'll make a very nice second round prospect and a very nice starter once he can get comfortable in the league. By that, I mean let him sit and learn. But of course, some team isn't going to listen to this disclaimer and start him year 1 anyways. So here's what I think is going to happen. Option 1. the most likely option. Jets need a quarterback. They go Arvell Reese at 2, go somebody with their later pick in the first, and get Tai at number 33 at the top of the second round. This is the most likely option in my eyes, just based off everything I've been seeing lately and them taking a liking to his skills. And well, let's be honest, even a starting Tai Simpson with 15 starts is leagues better than Justin bum-ass Fields. Then I still think Tai is a much better option than bitch-ass Brady Cook. Which, my god, if he's even an option next year, then I would take Simpson 1,000 times in a row before saying let's go back to Brady Cook. At least what Simpson offers now before the added growth with the far more serviceable future is better than Brady Cook. That guy sucks. Or of the chance they even sign a veteran, let's say Kirk Cousins, or they go with the younger option and Mac Jones. Have Simpson learn under him the 1 year and eventually ease him into the quarterback 1 role. Like, I don't think you could really argue a quarterback-hungry team like this, that was projected to take a quarterback at the number 2 spot if Dante Moore did not pull out. Do you really think they are going to stop at the ambition of, well, no Dante, we're not taking quarterback at all in this class? Hell no. So get somebody in the first with your 2 picks, then at the top of the second, get yourself the quarterback. It's a perfect setup if anything, so if they really want Tai this bad, I say sit around the draft and let him come to you day 2. But now for the chance you think somebody will steal, this is one of my more least favorite options, but I'm not ruling it out. I think they will snag him at number 16. Plain and simple. Either way, I don't think he falls past the Jets in round 2 unless they just completely don't like the guy. But you need a quarterback. If he's there, they're taking it. So to me, this is the most likely option. Option 2 of my personal favorite, but also I just doubt it because the class 2027 provides just so much more. The Rams select Simpson at number 29. Already explained this one. Let him sit behind the ticking time bomb that is Stafford and the retirement bug. Get him comfortable in the Sean McVay system and have him develop to start year 2 if or when Stafford finally goes. Would I love this to happen? Absolutely. Will it? No, probably not. I don't know. I'm not sold 100%. Because 1, the class of 2027 presents much better replacements if you really want to do it properly. And 2, this is a first round pick, which depending on who else falls this low, like a star corner, you don't swing your head at a quarterback who is a project. Somebody still needs time and development. If they wanted to do that route, take the shot at Nussmeier or Allar in the 3rd or 4th round where the cost is less and the pressure is far lower. If you really like Tai Simpson and you think he could take over for Stafford, you go for it. If you don't know it and you just want to do it to have a replacement, this is not the way to go. Option 3, Arizona throws their name in the ballot and takes Tai Simpson at the 34th spot. Either that, or they trade up and shock everybody in the first. I mean, it's no secret, the Oompa Loompa is out the door and they need a quarterback. So going back on the last couple of weeks, what did Jacoby Brissett prove? He showed you don't need a dual threat talent to make that offense operate. They just need a pocket passer who can see and hit his targets. If Brissett was able to dominate behind this line with his 2-year contract, why not throw Simpson behind him to learn under the 1 year? Like, you know, it's not a bad idea. Just why not do it? Have him do that, and then have him take over the year after. I say they do this unless they are willing to hold off till 2027. If they really want to go quarterback here, they're going to take Tai Simpson. And option 4, which I am not a fan of, but probably has the highest chance of happening if option 1 doesn't go through. The Steelers take Simpson and develop him behind Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy. I don't really got to explain this one. The process explains itself. Regardless, what happens? All I know is I wish Tai Simpson the best of luck. It was a pleasure watching him play for my Tide, and I cannot wait to see how his NFL career goes. I think he has potential to highlight this class alongside Mendoza, but unlike Mendoza, it's gonna take some time, and really depends on how his future team sets him up for success. Nonetheless, good luck, roll Tide. Next up, Garrett Nussmeier. I'm going to save you the long intro on my thoughts on him already and just cut to the strengths and weaknesses, because I already did a whole video on him already. If you would like to hear that, please go check it out. Anyways, the Nuss Bus is really an unfortunate one. Somebody who should have been a first rounder and probably could have been had he entered last year's draft, or had his second year look anything like his first where he threw for 4,000 yards, which, spoiler alert, it didn't. He sucked. It's the honest truth. The team had a lot of shortcomings, so it's hard to say it was all entirely his fault. Also, when you include that he played majority of the season with an abdominal injury that affected his play. So had he been healthy and his team could actually catch a damn ball or two, yeah, I think he would have made the cut as a first rounder. And I still think he has a chance of being a quality starter in the NFL at some point in his career. To me, he could have been the quarterback 2 of this class had he actually finished his year at LSU, and had he still present a solid season. But because he didn't, Simpson's going to go at the number 2. But of course, after Mendoza and Simpson are off the board, he's my quarterback 3. So here's his strength, weaknesses, and where I think he can end up being quite the dark horse selection. For strengths, we got arm talent. It's no secret, if you already know who Nussmeier is, you know this is a large attribute of his, but his arm talent is damn good. I mean, he could throw it any way you want. Short, intermediate, deep. It's truly a thing of beauty to watch it fly once it's out of his hands. He's got the arm that can zip it, float it, and drop it perfectly in stride, especially when he's on the bender and full of rhythm. Like, it will feel as if there's no throw he can't make when he's able to get hot with this offense. When stuff's clicking, chains are being moved every way possible, and defenses are struggling to keep up. So the arm talent itself is undeniable, and a large reason I like him as a prospect and say to look his way come day 2. Number 2, quick release. So pairing with the arm talent, we got another strength that makes it even better. His quick release. Nussmeier is able to make quick reads and immediately dish out quick throws, especially on short passes that defenses can't stop in time. As I said, once he's rolling, the offense flows like water. Number 3, toughness. Again, like Simpson, I gotta give credit where it's due. The Nuss Bus is one tough son of a bitch. He'll stand in the pocket, he'll take the hits, he'll fight through pressure, and he'll keep the play alive as seen multiple times throughout his first year. Or even you can reference this year when he was playing through the abdominal injury. Might have not been great, but it could have been worse. So whether it's actually playing through pain or under immense pressure, he's gonna face it head on with resilience and a competitive mentality. So with great arm strength and toughness, he also provides excellent ball placement that some scouts are willing to say is already NFL levels of worthy. Nussmeier knows exactly where to put the ball like money in the bank or bread in a basket. You want him to thread it between defenders? Hit a guy in stride? Nussmeier can do this. You want to turn routine catches into huge plays? Nussmeier can do this because he's going to put the ball in a position only the receiver can catch. Number 5, pre-snap awareness and IQ. So at the line, he's already thinking 3 moves ahead of the defense. He's able to read it out, adjust protections, and he gets the whole offense on the same page before the snap. And now we get to Nussmeier's weaknesses. Number 1, frame and durability. At just over 200 pounds and barely 6'1", Garrett's frame raises questions. Cause yes, he is tough and he has taken some big hits early on and got him right back up immediately, but one really does wonder just how long can he do that for? Like, we're talking a full 17 game NFL season plus playoffs if lucky. The hardest hit he's faced in college so far in his career wouldn't even compare to on the average of what he would see on a consistent basis when starting in the NFL. Also, adding in his injuries during college, the long-term durability is a real concern and a large question mark for a frame like his. So unless he can add that weight, this is definitely something I'd worry for. Number 2, locks onto his first read way too much. So as I mentioned in my video a couple months ago on Nussmeier, I'm still going to mention here. He loves to lock onto his first target. Like, ladies, get yourself a man the way Nussmeier looks at his first option, because that's the exact guy he's going to be hunting down the field even when he can't get the window he wants, which then causes easy checkdowns to get missed, progressions aren't fully worked, and defenders can key on him when he stares down his first option every snap. It becomes way too predictable. Number 3, pocket movement. Nussmeier is not exactly smooth when it comes to moving in the pocket. He's capable of it, but sometimes when he drifts into pressure, he's gonna eat a sack or two like it's a buffet. So he's going to be doing that instead of finding escape lanes. Not to mention his internal clock can get jumpy when his reads stretch past the first option. Number 4, and adding on to that, he's a limited playmaker outside the pocket. I know what you're gonna say, well yeah, he's a pocket passer, what do you expect? The thing is, the dude runs like he has cinder blocks tied to his legs. He's not the guy who's gonna create much outside the structure when a play breaks down. I know there's some quarterbacks in the league who can't do this already, but I would at least like to know my quarterback can make a play with his legs instead of standing there like a statue or a deer in headlights waiting to be hit. And then finally, his gunslinger mentality. See, the problem with labeling someone like him a gunslinger, it can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing because somebody like him, who has that title to his name, is always going to be hunting big plays. And the thing about these big plays is sometimes, while they work very well for the offense, they can backfire just as easily. Like if you told most quarterbacks with an arm like his, hey, play it safe, do not take a big shot down the field, you know how many would say, fuck this? Like, a lot of these players love the big plays. I mean, it puts you on the map rather than playing it simple. So with that, he'll force balls into tight windows instead of taking what the defense gives him. On top of that, he compared this with his ball security as well, as seen with the 2024 season and 2025. He's somebody who isn't shy when it comes to struggling with it, showing bad habits with interceptions and fumbles in and out the pocket. Overall, Nussmeier's a round 3 pick tops. As I said, he had the potential to start the season to be the guy to lead the class, but we really cannot ignore the drop off in production and overall skills. If I had to sum him up in one sentence, he's a quarterback with above average arm strength, and he's got the mobility of a stop sign. I like the guy, but after Mendoza and Simpson, that gap between the three in terms of talent and chances of being an NFL quality starter is large. It's like going from the 2 feet section in the pool to a whole ass 6 feet drop. If Nussmeier sees the second round, it's only out of desperation. Again, I like the guy, but none of these quarterbacks after the first two I mentioned today need to see the second round. If somebody genuinely wastes a second rounder on a potential backup like Nussmeier, or goddamn dare even say Drew Allar, you deserve to be whacked upside the head with a brick. Fuck's sakes, they saw the Senior Bowl and they're like, oh, Nussmeier looks really damn good. Third round pick at best. So who do I think is going to hop on the Nuss bus with the selection? I really like the Rams. And of course, I'm going to repeat myself a lot with this team just because I feel it's the perfect destination for any quarterback, especially for a pocket passer who possesses great strength. He'll get the O-line and star talent around him. All they would need is just his services to make it manageable. So for the Rams, it's a good one. Detroit, even in the 4th round, same thing. They already have great pocket play from Goff, so having Nuss learn under him to possibly see the starting daylight is not a bad idea. Or just to have as an extra arm, you know, in case shit goes bad. It's a cheap pick, and for the chance he's able to grow into something more, let's say eventually becoming a starter, it's something I wouldn't mind using to experiment if I was Detroit. Another team, I like Indianapolis. I think somewhere in the 4th if they don't want to roll with Riley Leonard, or even if they don't want to pay Daniel Jones, you know, if he's not able to revert back how he looked pre-injury. It's a system pocket passers tend to do well in with a good amount of weapons, now including Tyler Warren. You can call it crazy, but just tell me it does not sound half bad. Another spot, New Orleans, just because his connection with his father. Which if it goes this route, 100% he is never going to see starting daylight. He is going there to strictly only be a backup. Which being a backup isn't all that bad. And for New Orleans, I'm sure they could use one if they're not confident in Spencer Rattler at the quarterback 2 position. So here in New Orleans, he's able to say he was signed by his hometown team and could say he made the roster. I mean, it just makes somewhat sense. And finally, the Jets. Just because, as I said with Simpson, if you don't want to waste a pick in the 1st or 2nd on a quarterback, but still need somebody who isn't complete crazy name pool to start day 1, Nussmeier is the perfect choice. Still far better than Brady Cook and whatever the hell else they have currently, so if you don't want to waste a high-end pick and don't want to sign a veteran, take Nussmeier in the 3rd or 4th, you know what he's coming to do, and you know he's going to be available. So depending on how the combine goes, he might just say you that it's not a completely bad idea since you know you're going to tank anyways. He can hold you over, and then come 2027, you can hit the full reset button for a more loaded 2027 quarterback class. It's a cheap investment who could be a solid backup once you land the real starter. Regardless, I hope Nussmeier's able to do something at the next level. He was fun to watch in 2024. 2025, he had me scratching my head for most of the shit he was trying to do. I would like for him to be a starter at some point, but I wouldn't doubt if he's just a fine backup at best. This season really hurt him worse than he can imagine, and one truly does wonder, had he come out in 2024 where his stock was at an all-time high, where would he be now, and how good would his odds be now of landing a starting gig? It's just unfortunate truly, because 1 year ago this dude was in Heisman talks, and here I am now telling you he's sure to make a great backup with very low odds of being a starter. Just wild. But hey, that's how the game goes, and for his game, it plummeted straight into the ground. We'll see what happens, but if you ask me, round 3, if he's lucky. Round 4 feels about right for what he offers, in just my opinion. Round 5 is the lowest I see him falling. He's either the 3rd quarterback off this board or the 4th at the minimum if somebody wants to give Allar a try. I think Nussmeier's ceiling still presents something worth looking at, so yeah, to me, he's the 3rd quarterback off the board. But after the combine, I think we'll see what happens next come the draft. Next up, Carson Beck. What do we have here? If you're an OG to this channel, you know a lot about my draft video last year, and you know a lot about good old Carson Beck and my thoughts on him already. It's almost cinematic the way it wraps around 1 year later. Last year, I didn't like him. 1 year later, I still don't like him. I didn't think this smug prick of a quarterback coming out in 2025 would have done any good in the NFL, and I still don't think that 1 year later. My thoughts have not changed much other than he might be a solid backup with the tiniest chance of being much more. I mean, hey, credit where it's due. I'll admit I was wrong on one thing. He did make a national championship after an injury to his throwing hand. He got healthier and helped Miami get back to the promised land for the first time since 2003. So flowers where I give him. Congrats, Carson Beck. But to be fair, I can't say that's all completely his doing either, based on how stacked his defense was and how great his weapons were on the offense. To me, like I saw at Georgia, he was an alright game manager. I mean, you really didn't have to ask for him to do a lot. He's a quarterback who clearly has proven experience. I mean, not hard to do when you're in college for what feels like 8 years. But yes, that experience does put him above most names in his class. Like, not a lot of guys could say they lived through the meteor that killed the dinosaurs, or that they have 3 national championship appearances. Not to also mention, he has the ideal friend that makes scouts wet, standing at 6'4" and 220 pounds. See, some team will just hear those two things together and say, that's our man. Because to some, if they know he's a bigger frame quarterback who doesn't struggle behind a team that kinda has it all together, I mean, why wouldn't you want him with a cheap day 3 pick? I don't think he's worth a pick, but I mean, hey, in day 3, you know, it's like, why not? I don't see Beck anything higher than a quarterback 2 or 3 at best on somebody's depth chart. I can't say he won't be selected because somebody like Stetson Bennett was even a 4th rounder. You know, we want to go ahead and compare fellow Georgia quarterbacks. Or we want to go the other route, somebody who I thought was far better than him and a national champion, Will Howard. And guess where he went? The 6th round. So I don't have high ambitions on saying where he's going to fall. It's like pick your poison. He's going into 4th, he's going into 6th. The one thing, like the 2 he has in common, is he's going to ride the bench with the highest chance of being a solid, serviceable backup with like a 0.5% chance of being somebody's starter. He's an experienced guy with a large frame. That's really about all he has riding in his draft. Besides that, he just doesn't have an NFL trait in his body that tells me he'll thrive at the next level or present an upside that's worth the development. Even last year, I had Quinn Ewers higher than him, and that's not saying much. Nothing changed with Beck for me, just the uniform. Besides that, he's still the same player, and I stand by my statement. He's a day 3 talent and beyond. If I was a team around this area, I think I'd take a swing at Taylor Green, Allar, Sawyer Robertson. God willing, if Garrett Nussmeier's there, you can even throw in the UConn quarterback. I would take all those guys before saying Beck was the guy if I wanted a player who could potentially grow into more with a floor that also offers what Beck will provide me right now. Put it simply, I don't think there's anything he can do that the others from this class can't replicate with the same amount of experience. He'll be a nice spare arm to have in camp, but I just don't see it. I don't know. Might be another one I'm horribly wrong on, but this is what I believe. He's not good. It was one hell of a college ride. He got 2 rings out of it, and he got a fuck ton of money. I mean, there's a reason I think he stayed in college. Even he knew he was not cut for this. But unfortunately with Carson Beck, that ride comes with a complete stop after this year's draft. But either way, here's his strength, weaknesses, and where I think he goes day 3 if he were to work for somebody. Strength number 1, good pocket presence. Even though I don't like the guy, I think it was always good he was able to stay calm when pressure showed up, and he didn't panic too much when the pocket got tight. He's able to slide around defenders, keep his wide-ass eyes downfield, and stays ready to throw instead of bailing early on the play. And as seen in the playoffs or just throughout the season, even when he's about to take a hit, he'll stand in and deliver the ball, which can help keep the offense on point. Number 2, strong accuracy. Beck has shown over his career at Georgia and this year in Miami that he's consistently accurate in the short to intermediate range, finishing with higher than 70% completion percentage. Which, I mean, hey, credit where it's due. That is an impressive feat. Not only that, but he does put the ball in good spots, leads receivers well, and makes catches easier instead of forcing guys to bail him out. It's not perfect at every level or elite really, but you can trust him to stay on target and keep the offense rolling. Number 3, he's a fast processor. See, this one doesn't even sound believable, but yes, Beck was able to see the field well before and after the snap. He usually knows where he wants to go with the ball and doesn't hesitate when his first read is there. He does a good job recognizing coverages, getting the ball out on time, and occasionally avoiding unnecessary chaos in the pocket. You know, unless he does typical Carson Beck plays. Number 4, experience. Again, if I had to point out an advantage of his that I do think is going to get him selected, it is his experience. Beck has faced some of the best defenses in the country, playing in both the SEC and the ACC, and seen just about every coverage and pressure look you can throw as a college quarterback. His 27 total starts of experience show up with just how comfortable he looks operating the offense. He's been tested, he's made the mistakes, lots of them, trust me. He's learned from them, and he kept playing tough. Scouts will definitely see this and they'll like knowing they have a guy who's been through it all. Next up, weaknesses. Number 1, deep ball accuracy. Look, Beck has the arm strength to push it downfield. That's not a lie. But his consistency is not always there. Some throws drop in like he's thrown into a bucket, while others sail long. Others die short and force receivers to slow up to catch it. Put it like this, he's got a weak arm with receivers who can go all the way. So the issue shows up mostly on go routes and deep posts, where timing and placement have to be exact. And when the deep ball is off because your quarterback has the arm strength of a junior varsity quarterback, it takes away chunk plays and lets defenses sit tighter underneath. Number 2, limited mobility. I mean, this one's also not a shocker. The guy's not a creator outside the pocket. He could slide, he could shuffle, maybe even run for a first down and run it himself as seen in the Ole Miss game, but this is not a guy who's going to be consistently doing this as if it's a part of his routine. He's not going to be escaping trouble against defenses that don't fall apart easily. Number 3, he struggles with inside pressure. When defenders can collapse the pocket up the middle, Beck will feel it and he'll react too quickly, often forcing throws before he's fully set. This either leads to passes that get largely underthrown or are easier for the defenders to pick off. So to make a long story short, collapsing the interior of the pocket can make him rush decisions and hurt the timing and delivery of the ball. And finally, decision making. Carson Beck is not the smartest quarterback. He'll make a good decision every now and then, but he'll be the last quarterback I would want to make a drive just because I can't trust what he's going to do next. Because, fun fact, every loss Miami has had this season ended all in the same way. Beck makes a stupid ass throw and it turns into a pick. Story of his life, I imagine. But yes, his decision making isn't something I'm fully confident in. Overall, I don't got much to say to tell you my thoughts with Beck. I don't think he has much room left for growth, and he's already capped at his ceiling somewhere in between his 7 years of college. If I'm drafting him, it's only for a quarterback 3 role, possibly QB2. So somewhere in the 5th or 6th feels appropriate for what he's going to give me, on top of also being like 35 years old. So if I'm in a team like Arizona, Atlanta, Dallas, Cleveland, which will be absolutely hilarious, Carolina, Detroit, or even Pittsburgh because they're dumb enough to do something like this. I mean, hell, anywhere really. A backup is going to do backup things, and if he so happens to be a quarterback 3, which is what I'm predicting, then it's not going to matter where he goes. It was one hell of a college career, but that's officially where the ride stops. Hopefully, he saved up enough NIL money, the Lamborghinis they gave him, and bagged all the porn stars he wanted, because with a backup role, you won't be seeing that type of stardom ever again. Next up, Drew Allar. See, when we talk about dark horse candidates, you gotta include Drew Allar in all these conversations. And if it wasn't for Nussmeier being my dark horse, Allar would definitely be the one. I mean, 6'5", 235, and a cannon for an arm? You just can't coach stuff like this. Not to mention his mobility. Like, when I say he has the most tools out of everybody in this class, probably, I'm not kidding. He truly has it all. The only issue? He's got a lot of problems and needs a lot of coaching work. I really can't exaggerate how big the word "a lot" is in that sentence. Like, think of a really good looking video game. It looks great and has everything it needs to become this big flagship $1 million seller. The only thing is, it's not complete. Like, you've seen the demo, you've seen what it can do, but it is far from a finished product, and depending where he goes, it will be that difference maker. Like, it doesn't help he missed most of his last season, the season that was supposed to put him on the map. The year before was solid, but we needed one more to finally see, can Allar be the guy? Can he be the #1 quarterback? Can he put his name up there in the talks? Like, coming into his final season, everybody knew, yes, he still needs to work, and they were hoping this would be the season it all finally clicked. It's just unfortunate he attends a school that doesn't specialize in developing quarterbacks. He's got everything you need, you just gotta get him there. This is a guy you send to a great-minded head coach. An absolute genius who knows how to run an offense and knows how to develop talent. Send him to someone who doesn't have a damn clue what they're doing, and you fucked up. Especially depending on what round you take him. Either A, some GM is going to be praised as an absolute genius if Allar works out and becomes the next, I don't know, Josh Allen, reaches that ceiling, turns the franchise around, and just becomes the guy. Or B, he's gonna be fired and remembered as that poor son of a bitch who talked himself into thinking this is Josh Allen 2.0, so let's waste a second, maybe even third rounder on trying to fix him. To save yourself the time, if you know you cannot develop a quarterback, do not pick Allar. He's a development project for a reason. Dark horse? Absolutely. He's got the chance, but he also has just as great as a chance to fall flat on his face as he does succeeding. To me, it's simple. He's a large gamble with a very high upside, but also a very low floor that says not worth the time. A very interesting promising and confusing prospect to say the least. A challenge to most, but a really damn good challenge that can actually pay off the most if you do it right. It just has to be the right system. Anyways, here's his strength, weaknesses, and who I think throws their dart his way on the board. Strength number 1, arm strength. Like when you mention Allar, the reason why he gets compared to Josh Allen so much is not only because of his size, but because the dude can arm punt a damn ball like it's nothing. Like, I'd be lying to you if I said he doesn't have an arm that screams $100 million. He's got an arm that could write checks his ass ain't able to cash yet. An arm that screams the future. Like, this is the thing that is going to put him on boards come to combine once they're like, oh my god, he just flicked a 50-yard ball. Intermediate throws, deep ball, you name it, his arm can make it. Allar's able to zip it into NFL level windows before defenders even have time to react. His strength is truly effortless the way it just jumps out of his hand with ease. Number 2, his frame. There are scouts, literal teams, foaming at the mouth just hearing, oh, he's 6'5", 235. Like, this is exactly what teams picture when they talk about a franchise quarterback. Big, thick, built to take and deliver hits, and most importantly, built to last. He's not some small-ass quarterback that's going to take 5-6 hits and he's going to be on the injury reserve. This is a guy who's meant to be on the field for a long time. You're not going to be worried about him physically holding up at the next level. He's already got the prime NFL physique right now. Number 3, downfield throwing. When Allar's base can get right and he's able to step into it, he could drop the ball 35, 40 yards down the field perfectly. We're talking high-level trajectory, great placement, and throws that take the safety completely out the play. Without it, he leaves very little room for defenses to take advantage of when everything goes right. Number 4, ball security. This one's simple. He takes care of the football, which to me, that's a very important must. I want a guy who can keep us afloat. Not a guy who's going to be deep balling every chance he can get, throwing in double coverage, and just throwing in harm's way. A quarterback who could play it safe and be smart with his decision making. That's what exactly Allar is, and I'm pretty sure you knew that if you've seen the guy play and just the amount of checkdowns and short passes he takes. He'll take risky shots every now and then and show off the arm strength here and there, but he's not going to do something that makes the defenses look good. If he knows the shot isn't there, he's not going to take it. Number 5, quick release. For a quarterback his size, the release is clean and quick. He's got a compact motion that's able to get the ball out fast, and he can survive tighter pockets than most guys his size because he doesn't need a huge windup. Now we get into the weaknesses. Number 1, accuracy. See, and this is where people say he still needs work. While he can be great at it, screens, quick slants, checkdowns, he could do it, but at sometimes, he'll legit have you questioning, is he blindfolded? Because in the back of your mind, you're gonna be like, there is no way in hell a starting quarterback missed that type of throw. Like, at some points, he will have you scratching your head like, I don't think he could hit water if I dropped him out of a boat in the middle of the ocean. And with a concern like this, it really makes you wonder, how is he going to stand at the next level? Because missing some of these throws, I mean, that's how you end up on a bench, completely out the league, or holding somebody's clipboard. Like, there are some things you just cannot do as an NFL starter, or even a potential one. And one of those is missing easy throws and expecting teams to remain patient. Number 2, footwork. Again, the stuff that needs more development, footwork is another one. When he's able to get it right, he's golden. When he gets it wrong and the footwork is sloppy under pressure, completely different passer, and not a good one. Flat-footed throws, ball sailing, or dying at a receiver's foot, it's showing up way too often when things speed up. Number 3, processing and progression. For a 3-year starter, this one is also concerning. Like Nussmeier, he will lock onto his first read, and if it's not there, the play tends to fall apart. As seen with his most favorite target, Tyler Warren, if he ain't open, then shit, you're pretty cooked. So instead of calmly moving to option 2 or 3, his eyes drop and the play dies. Might as well have called a guy a one-looker the way he does some of it. But yeah, stuff like this is what NFL defenses will eat you alive for. Number 4, facing interior pressure. For a quarterback his size, interior pressure sure does set the guy off easily. So instead of stepping up or climbing the pocket, he'll drift backwards, sideways, or just do something to make the problem worse than it already was, and shrinking his own throwing lanes. So overall, with Allar, I only have a few spots that pop to mind. Number 1, the Jets. Look, I know for as much hell as I give this team, you would think you're actually saying something positive about him. Yes and no. The no part being, this team is so bad, I think any quarterback here could be a starter, or just perhaps immediately. So if they're going to go that route, I mean, why not Drew Allar somewhere around, I don't know, let's say day 3? I believe he offers the highest ceiling and probably would have been a first or second round talent had he stayed healthy. If he doesn't work out, then draft again next year. But for the chance it does, especially with a cheap pick, I think it's worth a shot. They got Frank Reich at coordinator, So I don't completely hate the spot, same with the other guys I named, like Simpson, Nussmeier. Even if they wanted to take a swing at like Sawyer Robertson, I don't hate the location like you would think. It's a rebuilding team, so it's like, you can't fuck up any more as a player than they have already as a franchise. Upon arrival, you'll get the playing time with no large expectations, so plenty of chances to grow as the game goes. With Allar, he's got the traits and a low turnover rate that says he knows what he's doing. Plus, it's day 3. Opportunities do not usually write themselves this good. Like all gambling, you never know the outcome until you play. So for the cheap price, I'd be all in on Allar. Number 2, the Rams. 4th round pick, and it will explain itself later on. Allar getting developed behind Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford would be a damn cheat code. I think he's a quarterback who's never really been in a great environment that knows how to bring up a quarterback. I think falling into a system like this would do him some good, and even if it doesn't work long term, it would definitely help him keep a backup job somewhere in the league. Number 3, the 49ers. So with Mac Jones most likely departing for a starting job elsewhere, putting Allar in one of the most quarterback-friendly systems in the league would not be such a bad idea. Not with the intentions of course, replacing Purdy, but just as a really good backup who can take over when needed if Purdy went out again with his injury history. You know this team, nobody on this damn thing can stay healthy. So a quarterback with his potential as large as his, why would he not want to go to a system that's very friendly with quarterbacks? Another team, the Colts. Learn and sit behind Daniel Jones, who's on a cheap contract with the intentions of starting him someday. Which again, like the Rams, if it doesn't work out, I think he offers a larger ceiling than Riley Leonard, and I think he'd be a much nicer backup than Anthony Richardson. The next team I have is the Eagles. I think him going there to replace Tanner McKee as the backup with a strong arm who can come in when Jalen Hurts is either out or either when they're in the playoffs and he just sits for a week. I think that wouldn't be a bad destination. Truthfully though, you could say a lot of destinations and I probably agree. But ultimately, somewhere that will know how to use him and work around his talents. Somewhere where he can sit and mentor behind a starting quarterback. Besides the Jets, of course. I think he'll be a really interesting prospect to keep up with over the next couple of years. One I would be very happy to see work out, but at the same time would not be all shocked if it didn't. It's a high payoff, but he's a puzzle I'm not sure all teams could put together. Next up, Cade Klubnik. Man, what the fuck happened to this one? Somebody has got to study his downfall, because for the decrease in draft stock his profile has seen, you would think the guy had a career-ending injury, missed the rest of his final year, or got benched completely. But no, not at all. He played the entire season, and yet, somehow that itself hurt his stock. Ass you gotta be to hurt your stock by just playing? Like, my god, you could have stayed to round 3, round 4 by just getting an injury like week 4. Yet somehow he tanked his own profile by just continuing to play the game. I'll admit it, I drank the Kool-Aid on this one. I drank the Kool-Aid on his freshman year, and even after last year with the playoff appearance. But what the hell happened since? He was supposed to take this next step forward and throw his name in Heisman talk. But instead of going forward, he fell backwards and I guess tumbled down a damn flight of stairs. And just never, and I mean never progressed. He's still the same quarterback he was before, the same quarterback who bails on just about every play and panic when pressure gets too hot. Now, it might just be a Clemson thing, but I just don't believe he's that great, let alone NFL material. Again, I might be wrong because it's football and anything can happen, especially when something goes perfectly. But I think he's got a better chance of getting hired to sell insurance than he does getting selected somewhere in the 5th. And that's still being generous. Unlike some other prospects, I just don't know the ceiling with him entirely, or I can say confidently that there's nothing that makes him stand out as oh yeah, that's a guy I want to invest in. His ceiling strikes me as a solid backup if his processing skills can catch up somewhere with his head. It can actually work to the next level. And I think under the right team, you might be able to have something with Klubnik. But see, that string of hope is very thin. I don't want to give anybody hope and say Klubnik's the sleeper in this draft or that he's a diamond in the rough. I don't see it. Nonetheless, it's a weak class and even a quarterback like him could still make a case for being selected in one of these rounds. If you get 2024 Klubnik, you might see something and we might be able to talk about a future. Talent's there, it's just under a lot of needed development. You get 25 Klubnik, then well shit, I can't say I see his career lasting long. Another perfect example of could work in the right situation, but I doubt anything serious comes from it in the nicest way possible. Like, he'll be the type of guy I see, 2 years from now in the preseason playing, and I'll be like, oh shit, he's still in the league. That or you'll catch him in the Canadian Football League, like most quarterbacks who don't work out anyways. So here's the strengths and weaknesses I could find. and my overall thoughts on where I think he can end up. Number 1, he's a play-action RPO merchant. See, this is where Klubnik shines the most. When the run game or motion holds linebackers for even a split second, he's decisive and confident attacking open space, notably slants, glances, or seams. In this moment, you can also see him show off his decision-making and accuracy skills. So because this is what he thrives in, it's why Clemson's offense is so heavily built around these plays. These plays help Klubnik function well without overthinking it, therefore it flows more smoothly. Number 2, his rushing ability. See, a fun fact for those who don't know about Klubnik, he has a past history as a track and field star. So because of that, it provides him real speed towards mobility. I mean, the dude's a legit straight line athlete. It's nothing a leader that says, oh, he's gonna be a top dual threat, but defense has still gotta respect his legs. He can escape, extend plays, and pick up yards when things break down. So it's definitely a plus knowing he can still find a way to move the chains if everything else fell apart with game on the line. Next up is his ball placement and touch provided on the passes. Klubnik's able to put good touch and arc on his passes, especially in his short to intermediate range, which makes life easier for his receivers. The ball arrives clean, on time, and in spots where receivers can catch it in stride instead of having to slow down or adjust. It's also one of the main reasons his receivers are able to pick up yards after the catch when he's in rhythm. Number 4, does well against the blitz. See, the thing is, when Klubnik can recognize this pressure and when defenses don't disguise much post-snap, he's able to beat the blitz with quick throws and timing concepts. It's just when he can recognize it. If he can't, different story, but when he can do it, he does well occasionally against it. Now we have his weaknesses. Number 1, drop back inconsistency. So coming back to his strengths, when I said he thrives on RPOs and play actions, when there is no play action or run threat to help him, his game drops off. Like, asking him to win consistently from a clean dropback has not always worked in his favor. It's more inconsistent than you would like. And for NFL scouts and GMs, they're definitely going to take note of this. Number 2, processing skills. This one is a strong one and I cannot stress it enough. He tends to believe what he sees pre-snap is how it's going to go, but the thing is when coverage rotates, it can slow him down and force late decisions. So the hesitation he'll have in his game leads to missed throws, sacks that he has no business taking, or balls being released way too late. So it's an area for improvement, and it's an area that shows he clearly still needs more reps and development once he gets into the league. Number 3, his feel for pressure is 50-50. So as I was saying earlier, sometimes he's able to sense pressure and he's able to avoid it cleanly. Other times he locks onto a read and takes sacks he shouldn't, especially when interior pressure rises. And also adding on to that, we have number 4, his decision making under stress. When things speed up, Klubnik either hesitates way too long or bails out on the play too early instead of trusting his arm and delivering on a throw. That problem showed up a lot this season as one of those things people noted when saying he regressed. So overall, here's the deal with Cade Klubnik. The talent's there, but it's inconsistent. The tape is there, but 2025 showed it's inconsistent. A lot of questions were raised, stock was tanked, and I'm not completely sure the guy's NFL material. That said, I'm not a professional, so I think under the right coaching, a system that can help him process the field, which is a large struggle of his, and just give the guy time, he might be an interesting backup. Definitely needs a perfect landing spot. If I had to name some, I think I would like somewhere like the Rams, Tampa Bay, Jacksonville, Minnesota, or even Carolina. I'm not going to rule out Klubnik ever becoming something in the league. It's just, to me right now, what he shows, I don't see nothing more than a practice squad quarterback or a QB3 at best. Either way, I know the dude is one hell of a competitor, so I know wherever he goes, he's bringing that mindset. Wishing him nothing but the best of luck. And that will do it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for watching another random recap. I really hope you all did enjoy the video. I tried my best. I put a lot of hours. It took me 2 weeks to do. So I really hope it was good enough. If not, please let me know down below in the comments what I could have done better. For part 2, I plan to include a lot more names like Sawyer Robertson, Luke Altmaier. I want to talk about other quarterbacks. So trust me, this is not the final one. But I really hope you all did enjoy, and I will see you all in the next random recap.